Hi, this is Val Hart, the real Dr. Doolittle, and today I'm talking with Allie Phillips. Allie is an author, an attorney, and an advocate for animals. She's spent most of her career working to better the lives of animals. She's worked as a frontline prosecuting attorney. She's currently the director of the National Center for the Prosecution of Animal Abuse, which she launched at the National District Attorneys Association. She's worked as a lobbyist when she was the vice president of public policy for the American Humane Association. And as an active shelter volunteer, she's also a fosterer for homeless cats, as an advocate for better animal shelter practices, a book author, and even as an energy healer for abused, neglected, and homeless pets. She works tirelessly to keep animals safe, including creating Sheltering Animals and Families Together, which is an international initiative to guide family violence shelters on how to accept families with pets when fleeing violent homes, and co-creating Therapy Animals Supporting Kids, which assists criminal justice professionals on how to incorporate therapy animals with abused children. She's published two books. Two books. Let me tell the first title. Hold on. She's published two books, How Shelter Pets Are Brokered for Experimentation, which discloses the secretive world of pound, seizure, and shelters who give homeless cats and dogs to research, and Defending the Defenseless, the definitive guide to advocating and protecting for our companion animals. Her website is www.manifestedharmony.com. Welcome to the show, Allie. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, Val. Thank you for inviting me. It's really an honor to be here.
Yeah, I love having you, and I love the work that you're doing. You know, this is an area that it's huge, and it's so important. It's just such critical work, and you're right on the front line. You know, right in the heart of it, in the heat of it. So, how did you get started working in this area? I just have to ask.
Well, I get that question a lot, and I think a lot of people, are on the edge of their seat waiting for this, situation or a big aha moment, and unfortunately, that didn't happen for me. It's just simply been an evolution. I mean, I grew up my entire life loving animals. My poor parents, I would drag home, every stray and mangy-looking animal that I could find in the street. Mm-hmm. And so I've really surrounded myself with animals my entire life. I can communicate with them. I understand them. And it really wasn't until I was a frontline prosecuting attorney, and, I had cats of my own. And one day I decided, I think I'm going to go and volunteer for the local animal control shelter because as a prosecutor, I felt that I was getting a little too edgy, a little too tough, because you have to be very tough in that position.
Yeah.
And so I went to animal control to basically get in touch with my softer side, which I now laugh at because it was a very challenging shelter to volunteer at. But that was really kind of the start. But it's really been an evolution that I feel has been divinely guided. When I look back on my career and the path that I've taken, and I often get questions from law students and other people who say, Allie, I want your work. I want your job. I want to do what you've done. How do I do it?
Yeah.
I don't know how to guide them because literally I have been guided. When one, door closes, another one opens, and I look back on it, and sometimes I have to shake my head and say, wow, that's a whole lot of work.
What an interesting web you've woven. Oh, what a great path. Yeah, and I think you really kind of nailed it. It's like we're here with a purpose, and we are, in fact, divinely guided. We may not know where we're going or what our purpose is at any given moment, but it becomes apparent when you continue to follow your heart, and to be open to guidance, and you've done that.
Exactly.
And you're still doing that. Yeah.
And once I really realized that, then it became very clear that my entire purpose for being here is to help animals and to help them in a variety of ways because, as you read, I have this sort of background that almost looks like somebody took garbage and just threw it on a wall. I mean, I've done a little bit of everything.
Oh, I don't think I'd call it garbage, my dear. All right, let's find a different term for that. The spaghetti, the light spaghetti got stuck on the wall. Oh,
yeah, and that's
funny.
actually a throwback to my prosecution days. It was a very notorious thing that I would say in a closing argument, that the defense attorney, the opposing counsel, would just throw garbage on the wall, hoping that their position would stick. So that's kind of a throwback to my prosecution days.
Oh, I love it. I love hearing where that came from. That's so great. I have such a great visual image of that, too. You know, it's so cute. I love that, really, because that's kind of how our life is. You know, some of it sticks. And other of it's garbage. It washes away, falls off the wall. It's not important. You know, it doesn't stick. So we have to pay attention to what sticks, right?
Exactly.
I love that.
And, you know, when I really look back over my professional career, which I'm trained as an attorney. I am trained as a prosecuting attorney, which is about the harshest of the harshest that you can be.
Wow.
And when I look at the sort of cases that I handled, I was from a jurisdiction that really didn't investigate and prosecute animal abuse. So I didn't handle hundreds of those cases. I mean, I handled enough to know that, hey, this is important, and we need to care for our animals and really enforce the laws for them. But, you know, when I look at the cases that I did prosecute, like organized crime, which is shocking given that I do energy healing now. It just doesn't seem to fit, but I did a lot of embezzlement, corporate embezzlement, organized crime, riots, prostitution, a lot of child abuse cases, and none of it has stuck with me except for maybe the child abuse, because it is so connected to animal abuse. And so when I look at what I do now, absolutely everything in my life that I touch now has something to do with helping animals.
Wow. I love that. It just is such an amazing journey. And so you're working with animals, you're helping them on so many amazing levels. And one of the things you do is energy healing, which is actually what we're here to talk about today, is your work with integrative healing and energy work and things like that. So it's just fascinating to me that a prosecuting attorney would come such a remarkable, it seems 180 degrees, over to doing energy healing work. So tell us, how did you get started doing that? What happened to spark that for you?
Well, you know, and I get that question a lot too, because
I'll bet you do.
my friends from my prosecution days, you know, which is a lot of police officers and judges and prosecutors, and they look at me now and they're like, "You do what? What do you do? We don't understand that." It really it's even beyond a 180 turn that I've taken. But I really wish I knew back then what I know now.
Yeah.
Because I think I would have been a completely different prosecutor, and it might not have taken such a toll on me. So what really happened was about 4 years ago, I was at like a natural health expo that's held in Maryland every year. It's called the Pathways Expo. And they have all of these exhibitors and little booths, and you can go along and sample, you know, an astrology reading or a palm reading or a tarot card reading. And I came upon a booth that was Reiki. And I looked at it, and I'm like, what? I don't get it. And they were giving little sessions. So I sat down in a chair for a session, and the Reiki practitioner asked me if I had any physical pain, and I said, yeah, I actually have a terrible pain on the back of my left shoulder, and it's been there for a year. I've tried everything, massages, hot therapy, cold therapy, you name it, and nothing is getting rid of this. Wow. Literally within 10 minutes, she's pulling and huffing and puffing and doing all of this stuff. And I'm just sitting there, as an attorney, thinking, I need evidence for what I'm going through right now. And I got the evidence within 10 minutes. That pain was gone.
Wow.
And the practitioner kind of leans over me and says, the pain's gone. And I said, oh, yeah, no kidding, the pain's gone. What the heck was that?
Wow.
And she just looked at me and she said, where are you in your spiritual journey? And I giggled and I said, oh, I can handle anything you tell me. And she said, you had an attachment. It could be from a past life or it could be an attachment from this life, but it literally was like a claw that somebody put in the back of your shoulder to stay connected with you, and I needed to release the hook.
Yeah.
The pains never come back, and I was hooked at that point. So I signed up for Reiki 1 and then very quickly went to Reiki 2 and then went on to Master Practitioner and eventually Master Teacher. And then intermingled in that, I got introduced to all of these different types of energy healing. And one of them is called Integrated Energy Therapy. And I started taking those classes. I took basic, I took intermediate, I took advanced, I took a class for pets. And I thought, this is the coolest thing ever. And it's just the past 4 years, I have just been educating myself and getting trained and getting certified. And even right now, I'm in the final stages of getting a crystal healing certification.
Cool.
I love for animals. And so it's really been an amazing path. And the more I go down this path, the more I find myself looking at the path that I've been on in a very different way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how pieces of our life come together. We don't think they're all that important sort of as we go, and then all of a sudden they pop up. It's like that's the critical piece. You know, that's the piece to this puzzle that makes some of the rest of this make sense. Do you find that true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because none of this, as I was starting down this path, none of it was making sense. But I just, like I said before, I felt like I had a divine hand on my back, gently nudging me down the path. And it's like, why am I doing this? This absolutely doesn't make sense to me, but yet I feel like I need to learn this. I feel like this feels very comfortable. It feels like I've done this before. And especially with the crystal healing, a year ago, and this was so funny because I kept saying to all my friends, I'm like, I have never thought twice about crystals. To me, they were just pretty little rocks. And all of a sudden, I got a bee in my bonnet. And I had to take a crystal healing class, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
I didn't know why. And I even showed up, and my Reiki master teacher was teaching the crystal healing class. And I sat there, and he looked at me, and he said, why are you here? And I said, I have no idea. I just knew that if I didn't come, it would be the biggest mistake of my life. And I have to tell you, I am surrounded now by crystals in my home, in my office. I'm wearing them. I'm, doing crystal healing on my cats, on shelter cats that I volunteer with. My healing practice took a complete turn when I started incorporating crystals with everything, even with Reiki treatments. Wow,
that's awesome. I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you. As I sit here at my little kitchen table that literally is an altar with all of these crystal grids, I feel like I'm about ready to vibrate right off the chair. Crystal energy.
Love it. Oh gosh. Okay, so let's jump into a bit more of the healing. So tell us more about integrative energy therapy. And then let's talk about crystal healing so people can better understand what exactly you're talking about. And then we'll talk about how we use it and benefits and how to play with it. So tell us about your tools.
All right. Integrated energy therapy, or IET, as it's known, is a very high vibration energy that actually comes from the angelic realm.
Okay.
And so for your listeners who are very familiar with healing angels, this is going to make complete sense. For other people, they may think, what? What are you talking about? But what it does is it is an angelic energy, so it's a very high vibration energy. It's actually a higher vibration than Reiki. And what this energy does is it energizes and it releases physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual blocks that we have in us. And so what it does is when it works on these issues, it pulls them out of you before they become a physical manifestation.
Okay.
For example, and this relates perfectly to animals, especially to cats, who I primarily work on.
Okay.
In the kidney area, the kidneys are where we store fear. So when I think of cats who are in kidney failure, which I actually just lost a cat 6 weeks ago today to kidney failure, I look to what fear triggered that. And for my cat, Sammy, about 3 years before that, he just suddenly became deaf. It must have been frightening for him to all of a sudden have his world go silent.
Yeah.
And to not know when I was coming up, when he was sleeping, to pet him, or when his feline sister Lucy, who loved to just hide around the corner and jump out and do a ninja move on him. And so it made sense to me. So I started learning this IET because what it does, and kind of the coined phrase for IET, is that it gets the issues out of tissues before you end up with a physical manifestation. And so, once you're attuned, you get an attunement like in Reiki, and once you're attuned to IET, what it does is it works with your 12-strand DNA. Now, in the rest of the world, they think we have a 2-strand DNA. But in the healing world, we really have a 12-strand. And it goes through the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual strands. And so IET it's a very gentle energy because it's an angelic energy. It's not coming from me. It's coming from them through me, like Reiki.
Okay, yes.
And so it feels very different than Reiki. To me, Reiki feels, I can feel it. It is strong. My hands at any given time will just throb with Reiki energy, and I know it's coming in. With IET, it's literally like a whisper. It is so gentle, but wow, is it effective.
Wow.
It's amazing. And IET specifically has a pet class, and all of the trainings are very strictly regulated. Stephen Thayer with the Center of Being is actually the creator of IET. All of a sudden had all this information downloaded to him from Archangel Ariel, and created this training program. So literally every person around the world who has ever been trained in IET has always been trained the same way. I think that's really cool.
Yes.
And there is a pet class, and I love teaching IET, particularly the pet class.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
That's great.
And then the other tool in my toolbox is crystal healing, and this is also a high vibration energy healing modality, with crystals. And I love the science behind crystals, because crystal healing is not some new agey concept. I mean, crystal healing has been going on for thousands, if not for millions of years, depending on, whether you have a belief system about the world of Atlantis. But crystals scientifically have been proven to have a very set vibration. crystals don't change. They have their set vibration. And what is beautiful about a crystal is that humans and animals, our vibration actually changes according to people that we interact with, spaces that we come in contact with, events like that. So we can change. And so simply by being within the vibrational range of a crystal, our bodies will begin to sync with the crystal.
Got it.
And so for me, if I'm feeling kind of flighty or unfocused, I grab a grounding crystal.
Got it.
I got to tell you, I literally feel like a swirling pool of water is going down the drain.
Whoa.
Within a second of picking up a grounding crystal, it's like right in the center of me. It's like, ooh, I just ground. Or if you need to kind of raise your energy because you're tired, you can grab, a high energy crystal. And so for animals, what I love about this is putting crystals with animals, especially homeless animals, abused and neglected animals, because their bodies will start to sync up to the crystal. And there's over 4,000 crystals, so you can literally find a crystal for anything. There are crystals to help with diabetes. There are crystals to help with fear and anxiety and high blood pressure and you name it. And you can just put a crystal with a person or an animal, and they'll start to sync up to the natural healing ability of that crystal.
Wow. I can see how that would really work. Does it last? I mean, do you have to have the crystal with you or with the animal long term? So what would happen if you gave an abused or homeless or an animal that's resonating at let's call it a funky vibration, or maybe, something off. You put a balancing crystal, I guess we could call them, to come with the animal if you removed it, and they balance, and then you removed it. Would they revert back, or what would happen then?
No, they would not necessarily revert back unless whatever triggered the imbalance is still in their environment.
Got it.
So, what I like to do is chakra balancing on my cats. And I actually just posted, I need to get this on my website, but I just created a YouTube page for Manifested Harmony last night. And I posted a chakra balancing for 2 of my cats.
Okay.
And it is, when I tell people, they don't believe me, and so that's why I posted the video. My cats literally, within 15 seconds, calmed down.
Wow.
And they were just laying there soaking up the energy as I placed them on all of their chakras. And, so that stays with them. Now, for animals who are, maybe they're in a shelter setting. I volunteer with a cat orphanage in Alexandria, Virginia called King Street Cats. And sometimes we get cats that come in who just don't like other cats. Well, we're free roaming. So these cats are going to need to become very cat-friendly, or they're going to be very highly stressed. And so what I do is I put certain crystals with them. They're in a cage for the first 10 days to help acclimate them, and I will hang a little bag of crystals on the side of their cage to help them kind of sync up with the energy of our cat orphanage. And I have crystals even hanging from the ceiling of the cat orphanage to help create peace and calm in the room. And, so if an animal is in a situation where they are constantly stressed, then yes, you could keep the crystals with them. Okay. But if it's just a one-time thing, you could just do a crystal healing session, and that will stay with them.
Got it. Thanks. That's a really good point. Good. So, Allie, how do you choose the right crystals? Is there a guide or something that people can refer to?
Yes, there are a lot of guides, and you can even go on to the Internet. There's a lot of great websites. A website that I like is called healingcrystals.com.
Okay.
Where you can order crystals, you can read all about them. Very high quality, very reputable, company to buy from.
Okay.
But what I do, there's 2 different ways that I choose a crystal. One is just by intuition.
Yeah.
I have all I don't even know how many crystals I have. I mean, it's in the hundreds. And I will sit in front of my crystals, and I have them all organized in cute little, a little box, that has little cubby holes, and they're all labeled. And so I'll just sit in front and I'll look at them, and all of a sudden, a particular crystal just literally jumps out of the box at me. And it's like, okay, I can look at that. And then what I do is I go to all the books that I have. There's a book called The Crystal Bible, that is really wonderful. And so I look at the healing abilities of that particular crystal, and almost 9 times out of 10, it is exactly what I need.
Awesome. Yeah. You think, anybody, even a layperson, if you're willing to tune in and feel, and if you were holding a crystal, if you chose one or picked one up, or it, like you said, jumped out of the box at you, hopefully it didn't land on your head or your foot, but it got your attention in some way and you picked it up. Do you think that everybody can feel that difference? Do you have to be trained to feel it, or can anybody do it?
Anybody can do it. We all have the ability. It's just whether we allow ourselves to develop the ability. And through Manifested Harmony, I blog and I, post on my Facebook and Twitter pages a lot about slowing down, which sometimes I need to practice more of what I preach. But
we teach what we need to most learn, right?
Precisely. And so I talk about, we really have ended up being human doings rather than human beings, because we do stuff all the time, and when we're constantly doing, we can't tune in and listen to that little voice inside our head, which always has such great advice. Not the ego voice, but truly our inner voice that always has such helpful ideas like, hey, Allie, you need to take a crystal class, and I'm going to keep talking until you sign up for it. Those are the voices that we want to hear. They're good voices. But we have to slow down, and a lot of people get nervous when they hear the word meditation, and you don't have to meditate. You can literally just go, you can sit in your backyard if you have a nice backyard, or you can go for a walk through the woods, and when we slow down, we're able to pick up things. You can pick up the energy of a crystal, and all of a sudden it just resonates with you. And that's kind of how I like to choose crystals. But then I always go and double check the book to see, hey, what does this crystal really do? And it's amazing. Every morning I do this. I just pick a crystal and say, okay, what's my crystal for the day that I'm going to put in my pocket? And then I look up the meaning of it, and it's like, okie dokie, that's what I need to learn.
I love that. I'm getting an impression of animal collars, like pet collars that have little bags for crystals on them, or maybe, dogs carry backpacks sometimes. Maybe we could just pile a bunch of crystals in there.
Exactly. And there are companies that make little trinkets to go on pet collars that have crystals on them.
Cool. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It really, really is amazing.
Wow.
When I pull out the crystals, my cats, or when I bring home a new set of crystals, they will lay on top of them. They love the energy. And, my cat, Lucy, she's a beautiful black Bombay. She actually just crawled up on the table and is laying on top of a very large, it's probably a 10-inch by 6-inch clear crystal quartz, which is the master healer. It is the ultimate of crystals. And it's spiky, and I'm surprised it's not hurting her because it's got little crystals, poking out of it. But she's laying right on top of it.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
She's saying it's not uncomfortable.
No, it's not. It probably feels like a nice little prickly massage. But it's it's something that she wants right now. She wants a little dose of healing, and and I never realized how how animals are so highly attuned to energy, whether it's crystals or the IET or Reiki. I mean, they are just naturally more grounded.
Yeah.
They are more attuned to Mother Earth. I mean, when you think about it, they actually walk barefooted on Mother Earth, and they don't have the emotional and the mental stressors that us humans have each day.
Yeah.
So they can naturally and instantly resonate and sync up to this energy.
Yeah.
And what I love about doing this for animals is that it doesn't take a long time. For us, we may need an hour-long energy session, whereas animals may only need 5 or 10 minutes. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Can you tell us another a story about how crystals have been helpful?
Yes. Actually, I can. What I find with healing energy is animals they either want the energy and, like Lucy, they crawl right on top of the crystals, or they just reject it because they're not ready. And I respect the animal's wishes. If they don't want it, especially with Reiki, you always get permission. And if the animal gives you a signal that they don't want it, you don't do it.
Yeah.
I do the same thing with crystals. If they are walking away or if they're, really cowering, I remove the crystals. With IET, it's a little different because it's an angelic energy, and the teachings tell us that we can send the energy and the angels will literally store it in an energy bank account, and when the animal or the person is ready, even subconsciously they may not know that they're ready, but when they are ready, the energy downloads.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. But I have a very interesting example of a foster cat that I had last summer. Her name is Pandora. I called her Panda Cat because she kind of looked a little bit like a panda, and she came up here as part of a transport program with the Island of St. Croix's Animal Shelter.
Okay.
Through their Pets from Paradise program. And Pandora came up here, 6 years old. She lost her home in St. Croix. Within a week, she's on an airplane coming up here. She must have been so confused. And she stopped eating. And she eventually came to my house into foster care. And I thought, okay, I'm only dealing with an issue with her not eating. So I'm going to just do a little bit of Reiki just to kind of relax her. Nope. She did not want it. Her fur would literally ripple. And I didn't realize it at the time, but she actually had too much energy. And she would actually
you don't want to add more.
Right.
You need to drain it.
At me. She didn't want it.
Right.
And she ended up having, some pretty severe health issues. She developed eye ulcers in both of her eyes because the stress, the energy was literally coming out of her body, and it manifested in that way. And, just about 3 months ago, she went to her new home. It was another foster home, but the foster home just loved her and adopted her. But she still has had all of this excess energy, and I knew that I can't send energy healing to her because she's just too filled with energy. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me in talking with other people that she needed to get the energy out. And so I took over a bunch of toys to her new mom, and I said, we just got to get her to play. And I've never seen her play before. I don't think she knows how to play. You've got to make her play. And I said, when you get her to play, I also want you to put, and I took her a beautiful, like a peach, a size of a peach crystal called celestite.
Okay.
And it's a very soft, very healing stone, and it's like a clear blue, crystal blue. Oh, it's just gorgeous. And I said, we're going to put the crystal underneath the chair where she sleeps all day. And if you find that she's not sleeping in the chair, take the crystal away. But I have a feeling that once she starts playing and starts getting the energy out, she's going to go and sit in that chair. And sure enough, it worked.
Wow.
It worked. Because Pandora was having about once a month these outbursts and would bite. And then she'd look at you like, I'm so sorry, I don't know why I did that. And thank goodness her new mom, loves her and wants to work with her. But it was just interesting that getting her to play expressed the energy out of her. And then the celestite crystal then helped to heal her. And it's just a very gentle, it's actually an angelic stone. And the combination has been frankly shocking. And so she sleeps in that chair, and underneath it sits the crystal, and she gets the healing. And so, that's kind of how I work with pets who initially reject it. Got to find a way to figure out why are they rejecting it.
Okay.
And then you can work it in. But I have to tell you, a lot of pets, they welcome it. They want the energy. They crave it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a great story.
Yeah.
It gave me some cool ideas, too. I know I felt, I do healing, too, different modalities in some part. But it makes sense to me. Sometimes we need to drain energy or balance too much energy versus feeding energy, for giving it. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. That's really powerful.
It is, and when we think about the variety of issues that animals may be encountering, especially now when we are so clearly in an energetic change in the planet. I mean, the vibration of the planet is rising, and because animals are so much more attuned to the earth than we are, can you imagine how unglued they must feel right now?
Yeah.
And so helping them to not only, expel the energy out of them, but then, because you've created a void, you replace it with healing energy, and it could be Reiki, it could be IET, it could be crystals, it could be floral essences, whatever speaks to you. The animals really need us right now, and not just, our own pets, but I love to help shelter animals, and when we think that shelters get anywhere from 8 to 10 million pets a year just in this country alone, there are ways, and I know that there are people that are working and volunteering in shelters who want to help animals, and we want them to feel calm and to be themselves, because then they will be adopted. And I have been working on training shelter workers and volunteers, because if a dog or a cat or a rabbit or a ferret can really be calm and be at ease, they're going to be more adoptable. And so it really helps animals in so many different ways. And especially when you're dealing with an abused or a neglected animal, one thing that I am just so passionate about now is after we get those animals to safety, our job is not done.
Yeah.
We have to heal them, because one of the worst things that we can do is to either not give them a chance to heal and they end up being euthanized, or we put them in a home when they haven't healed and they end up coming back with behavioral issues. And so when we look at behavioral issues of animals, we can incorporate energy healing, all the different modalities, to help them, and then they feel better, and they end up being better companion animals for us.
Yeah. Well, and that makes a lot of sense. The animals that wind up in shelters, they have some measure of post-traumatic shock. There's some reason that put them there. They've either lost their family, or they didn't ever really have good grounding or management to start with, which is, they wound up being badly behaved and their people couldn't deal with them anymore.
Right.
Or something's happened. Maybe their person died, or they got lost, or who knows. They have stories.
Mm-hmm.
They all have their stories, and a lot of their stories are painful. And they don't know how to deal with that. So that's a big part. I know I do a lot of that kind of work. And it makes a lot of sense to help them find their balance again, which helps them be the brilliant, wonderful selves that they truly are. And then to connect with their family and the new person that they're here to be with next, and to start a new good life, the rest of their life, So this makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it's and it took me a while to put this together. It's not anything we are born knowing. It's part of the evolution. It's part of our path. Once we get on this path.
Yeah.
But I've seen such wondrous things happen for animals. I mean, literally just about an hour before we started talking, on my way, back home from work so that I could do this call, I stopped by the cat orphanage where I volunteer, and we have 2 kittens. They're probably about 5 or 6 months old, and one of them has just had a string of bad luck. Came to us with a terrible eye infection and ended up losing his eye. And then just about 2 weeks ago, he got bit by a dog in the foster home, which was just a freak accident. It was nobody's fault. And this poor kitten just can't get a break. And, when I've seen this kitten for the past 2 weeks at our cat orphanage, we have him with his brother in a cage to make sure that he's okay and healing up nicely. And he hasn't wanted to interact with anybody and has actually seemed kind of scared. And today, I don't know why I did this, but I felt like I just need to stop by even for just 5 minutes. And I activated the energy in my hands, and I opened up the cage door, and from a distance, I just held my hands out. And this kitten was sleeping with his brother, and the brother woke up and instantly started licking my hand because he was taking in the energy. The brother, who really needed some physical healing and maybe even emotional healing, started stretching and yawning, which to me is a signal that they are releasing something in them, maybe some trauma, some negativity. And all of a sudden he woke up, and not only did he start licking my hand, but he got right up, he walked right to the front of the cage, and he took his forehead and he slammed it into my forehead to thank me.
Yeah.
And he kept putting his head, he got bit on the lip by the dog, and then he had his eye removed, so his head area really needs a lot of healing, and he kept pushing his head into my hands.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Wow.
So tomorrow I'm going to go back, and I'm going to hang a little crystal bag in the cage to help them not only physically heal, but to heal his heart, because he must wonder, what happened with this really nice, friendly dog. Something must have happened. And he must be a little heartbroken, and a little heartbroken to know that he lost his eye. So I'm going to put some crystals in his cage to help him both physically and emotionally heal.
Yeah. Thanks, Allie. I appreciate that you are following your guidance and offering your love in such a beautiful way. It makes a difference.
It's such an honor.
Yeah.
It really is an honor. I feel like this is what I am meant to do.
Yeah. I believe it.
It's not even work at all. I love doing this.
Yeah, I get it. Oh, so are there any tips that you could give our listeners for maybe how to get started, or maybe some things that they could do? What would you like them to do?
Sure. If they're interested in learning the integrated energy therapy, what they could do is go to the IET main website, and it's learniet.com, and they can look for teachers in their area.
Okay.
If anybody is in the greater Washington, D.C. area, they can certainly come to me and my website, which is manifestedharmony.com, because I teach the IET classes here. And same thing with Reiki. You can just Google, Reiki teachers, and you may find somebody in your area. And for crystals, there are some, crystal classes that you can take. The certification that I have gone through, which I just loved, was through the Hibiscus Moon Crystal Academy, and that's the website, hibiscusmooncrystalacademy.com. And the teacher, Stephanie, is a science teacher, so you really get the science behind the crystals and know that this is not just some concocted, not that any energy healing is ever concocted, but some people may think, this is a little too far out there.
Right.
But there's science behind it.
Yes.
And so her classes are online, and you get these wonderful interactive videos, and you can reach out to her and to the other students. It's really, really a wonderful class.
Wow.
Or you can even pick up a book on crystal healing. There's crystal healing for animals books that you can read about. And because with crystal healing, you don't have to receive an attunement in order to process the energy like you would for Reiki or IET. With crystals, you can read books, and then you can start buying crystals, and you can almost self-teach.
Yeah. Okay. So if they want to learn integrated energy therapy, it's learniet.com, and they can find a teacher in their area, or if they're in your area, I'm sure they would be delighted to work with you. And then your website is manifestedharmony.com. They can certainly look for Reiki. Reiki's taught all over the place. There certainly are places or teachers probably close to anybody around the world, I would think. And then hibiscusmooncrystalacademy.com. And Stephanie, you said, is our wonderful science teacher that's doing these online crystal classes, which just sound wonderful. So that's fun. That's just fun. Always loved rocks. Just resonated with rocks.
She makes it fun, and she gives you more materials and information than you ever thought existed on crystals. So you actually graduate from the class with such an abundance of knowledge.
Yeah. So how can an animal receive energy healing if they don't live near an energy healer? And let's say their person, we know that our animal needs healing today, and we don't have time to take a course or to be certified. What would you suggest that they do?
Well, and this is something that I do for clients.
Okay.
And sometimes this can be a little challenging at first to wrap your brain around, but how I explain providing distant energy healing is that the entire universe is made of energy. Your car, the chair you're sitting on, your animals, even yourself, we are all vibrating energy. And in the energetic world, there are no time or space boundaries.
Right.
That is human created. We created time and calendars and things like that. And so healing energy, when it's properly invoked, can travel to a person or to an animal across the globe. And it can travel in time. It can travel forward in time. It can travel backward in time, because we have created the time, the linear time. But whereas energy cannot be created or destroyed. It goes everywhere and every place at any time. And so we just have to send it. And so with Reiki, with IET, and even with crystals, I can do distant healing sessions, as would anybody else who is trained in this area.
Right.
And for instance, the table that I am sitting at right now, I actually have 2 distant healing crystal grids in front of me. And what I did was I I activated the crystals in a beautiful grid. I mean, there's multiple crystals on this grid that all have specific properties and healing properties. Mm-hmm. And then underneath the grid are photos of animals that I am in the process of healing. And so when I walk away, they're getting the healing 24/7.
That's fun.
And it really is shocking because you can measure the intensity of the energy grid with copper dowsing rods, which are used to actually detect for water and other minerals. Mm-hmm. And when I take my copper dowsing rods and come within 6 feet of this grid, that's where the boundary of the grid is.
Cool.
It radiates out 6 feet.
Wow.
And so I work with it to radiate to the photos and the people and the animals that are within that grid, and it's really nice. Yeah, and I have a very interesting story about doing this with integrated energy therapy. Okay. About 2 weeks ago, I was teaching IET for pets, and one of the students, we were working on dogs. Well, we didn't have any dogs in the class, and so I have people bring photos of their dogs or dogs that they know, and then I teach them how to send and receive and kind of feel the energy through a stuffed animal that is representative of that dog. And the student started crying. And afterwards, I asked her, are you okay? And she said, that is the strangest feeling, but that stuffed animal felt like my dog. I felt a heartbeat. I felt warmth. I felt like I was giving energy directly to my dog. I felt like my dog was in my lap.
Wow.
And that really, it may sound kind of bizarre, but the more you read about how energy works, especially quantum physics, and I'm certainly not a scientist, but this has been scientifically proven that you can send energy. So I'm here in the Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia area, but Val, I can send healing energy to you at any time, and I can send it over to China and India and England and to the North Pole.
That's right. That's right, you can. Yes, absolutely can. I know you've got tons more stories, and I certainly relate. My clients are around the world too. So let's wrap this up just a little bit. So your website again is manifestedharmony.com. Yes. MANIFESTED, Manifested Harmony, HARMONY.com. And they can learn more about energy healing. They can locate a practitioner or a trainer in their community. And, of course, I know your books are wonderful. They can get a copy of Defending the Defenseless to read more about energy healing and other alternative therapies that benefit animals. Yes. Is there anything else you want to leave us with today?
Just to say that energy healing is really becoming more widely known and more widely accepted, and research is beginning to validate the power that energy healing has. And while energy healing, we never say that we are curing or diagnosing an animal or a person. What we do is allow the person or the animal to be at ease and to be relaxed, because when the body is at ease, the body heals itself. And that's really what these tools do, and science is starting to validate this. So it's really amazing, and anyone who either has their own companion animal or they work with animals, I cannot stress enough how important this is to do for them, because they rely on us for their well-being, and this is such a lovely gift that we can give to them, and they, in turn, send the healing energy back to us, and it's amazing to feel it.
Yes, they do. You're right. I'm so glad you brought that point up. Yeah, I know there have been studies done about the effect that animals have on people, and, of course, service animals, therapy animals, are well known for that, but all our animals are. When they're in a balanced state and are able to be who they really are. And if they're not being that, then they need a little bit of help, so we could help them back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Allie. I've so much enjoyed talking with you today, and I think your message and your work is so valuable and important.
Oh, thank you, Val. This has really been wonderful. I love talking about this. I feel so energized. I'm going to go sit in a crystal grid now.
Send a little of that out our way. We will love it, too.
I will.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Allie. We'll catch up with you again and talk to you later. Thanks.
Thank you, Val.
You're welcome. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.